Hello, this is John Miller, the creator of this podcast. Now, the rest of Everest is probably the most in-depth look at just what it takes to climb the world's highest peak. But keep in mind that it is a series. And if you're checking out the podcast for the first time, do yourself a favor, go back to episode 0 and watch everything in order. That's really the right way to enjoy it. Thanks so much.
This is the Rest of Everest video podcast, an almost unabridged expedition experience.
Episode 92, The Eyes of Buddha.
Well, hello again, everyone. Welcome back to the Rest of Everest. I'm John Miller, joined as always with Scott Jacobs. How you doing, Scott?
Doing well, John. How are you today?
I'm doing well. This is down to the last 2 episodes of the Tibet 2007 season, and I have to admit, it's been wonderful. It's been a really good time producing these episodes, and you know, I have to say it's also just been great having a real good excuse to talk to my good friend Scott every week or so. So gonna miss having that great excuse. Have to make up some other excuse to call you all the time. But this week we are going to visit the largest stupa in the Kathmandu Valley. It's called Boudhanath, and we're going to get to see how, even though it's very Tibetan, things around Boudhanath are very different from the way they are currently in Tibet. You can definitely tell that you are not in Tibet. So I look forward to showing all that footage, and I would say let's head up to actually the Kathmandu Valley now. We're done with the altitude, so here we go. Okay, so we are in my room, and I'll just give you a quick tour of the room. Got a little seating area. Got the bathroom. The bathroom, which is always the toilet and shower combo with a drain in the floor. Really enjoyed that shower earlier today. Yeah, it was good.
Been waiting for it.
Here's the bed once I get into focus. There we go. I hate autofocus. I have a gear explosion going on here. And I have a house guest. No, it's not Scott. Go right above here. It is Scott calls it a house gecko. Whoa. My little buddy. Cute little guy. Happy to have him. So Scott used to have one of these?
A little bit different. I think he's a house gecko. I will tell you in a minute. I don't know what he is.
He's cool.
He's pretty much like the house geckos, except at a different species. Or a different kind.
He says, Namaste.
I wish we had crickets.
Yeah. I'm sure we can buy those in Tamil, though. Of course, they might be soaked in heroin or something. That's one of the other things about Kathmandu that we're growing a little bit wary of. Not the geckos on the wall, but every time you walk around in Tamil, you get kind of assaulted by people wanting to sell you drugs, and they have what? Let's see. So they've been talking about hashish, smoke, opium. Yeah, so marijuana, opium, cocaine, hash. I've been offered cocaine, and you know, these guys are, you know, they're not dangerous in terms of they're not violent or anything, but they're so sickly. Ugh. And it's kind of depressing, and as someone who doesn't do drugs, it's a little bit, I don't even know how to describe it. It's just, you just walk on, you say no thank you, and then they kind of follow you for a while, like, are you sure you don't want hash? Yeah, I'm sure. I'm positive I don't want hash. So it's just a little bit odd, but you just keep going and you go about your business, and they eventually leave you alone, because quite honestly, I think they're too tired to chase after you. But that's the wonder that is the tourist district in Kathmandu called Tamil. Yeah, and you know, quite honestly, that's not Kathmandu in general. That's the tourist district. Tamil is very different from the rest of Kathmandu. And you know, one of these trips, I hope to actually escape Tamil and see more of the Kathmandu Valley, because it really is an amazing place. And you just, you know, you might remember from some of the early episodes from this season, that as soon as you get just right outside Tamil, it's completely different. Remember the episode where we were fixing the tire? Very, very different than Tamil. So this is Boudhanath. And it is one of the largest stupas in the world. It's huge. Let's see, I think it's about almost 40 meters high. And it's really dramatic. You go through this entryway here, flanked with these buildings, and it just perfectly frames the stupa there. And then it really is dramatic. Really, can't help but take photographs. It's really something special.
Eyes of Buddha. That is one large stupa.
And this fellow here is our... Yep, he's our cab driver.
He's a great, short little cab driver, short little taxi ride to the stupa, and he parks the car. We were both kind of expecting it at this point. We're kind of getting used to it. We should be used to it. It's almost over. But yeah, he just hung out for a feet, kind of gave us the history, showed us around.
Yeah, Boudhanath is only like maybe... it's less than 10 kilometers from the hotel. It's, maybe like 6 kilometers, so it's not too far away. And yeah, this you'll see a few more shots of our taxi driver this episode and next episode. But yeah, he really did his best to educate us on a lot of things here, so it was great.
Here's something you will not see in the Tibetan stupas.
No, absolutely not. So around Boudhanath are a bunch of temples, and there's actually a few, there's at least one large monastery, which we'll see next episode, but here's a large Buddha statue, and yep, right at the Buddha's feet is the Dalai Lama. I just remember walking in there, and that was the first thing that I noticed. I mean, obviously you notice the statue and everything, but just seeing, the face of the Dalai Lama, really in great contrast to Tibet, where that is you're just never going to see that in Tibet.
It's actually illegal by Chinese law.
Yeah. But it always is amazing just how ornate everything is. And, I guess that Boudhanath is sort of a pilgrimage site for Tibetans. And so I guess the area around Boudhanath is sort of considered a little Tibet. It's got a lot of Tibetan people, and so it's a really cool place. Really cool place. It's in my feeling, it's not quite as much of a mix of the Tibetan Buddhism and Hindu cultures as the monkey temple, Swayambounath, the temple on the hill that we visited before we left for Tibet. But I guess it's about the same age. Both stupas date back more than 2,000 years, and no one really knows exactly how old they are, but they're at least 2,000 years old.
I don't know about you, but I can definitely feel a difference. I mean, you could feel the Tibetan influence in this area. I remember reading that this specific area of Kathmandu is just where a lot of the Tibetan refugees settled after the Chinese invasion and then the Cultural Revolution.
These are some more of those extremely large prayer wheels. I think I get some scale here. Yeah, there's a man for some scale. They're very large. Now I think we see more footage of the the eyes of Buddha on the top of the stupa there. And I'll just explain that the eyes of Buddha are on four sides of the tower on the stupa there, to all compass points, north, south, east, and west. And everything here is, it means something. And so when you see the eyes of Buddha there, they're the eyes up top there. Well, actually, the whole stupa is symbolic, and just the construction. It's actually, if you were to look at it from the sky, looking down on it, it's a mandala, and it stands for the 5 elements. I guess the base stands for earth, the dome stands for water, that big dome you see. The spire stands for fire, and I guess the crescent atop the spire stands for light, and then on top of that is a thing that looks kind of like a flame, and that stands actually for the ether. And so everything is symbolic, absolutely everything. And I'll explain what the eyes are. Hopefully we'll get another shot of the eyes coming up. I can't remember. And of course prayer flags, they stand for the elements as well. Hopefully we'll get a close-up on the eyes. I believe we do, but I'll just go into this real quick. I've got my cheat sheet here. The eyes actually, you'll see between the eyes, there we go, just above the eyebrows you'll see, it's hard to see in this image here, but you'll see a dot, and that's a tika, stands for the third eye. And then the eyes of Buddha have what looks like a kind of a squiggly nose, and that actually is, I believe it's the Sanskrit numeral for the numeral 1.
1.
Yeah, and so that that stands for the how everything is one. And it's very cool, and I really like the eyes of Buddha, and on my t-shirts, that's why I have them on the back of the neck, just so that you can see where you've been coming from. I like that concept. Here's some more of the architecture around the stupa. Very Tibetan looking. Looks a lot like the monasteries that we had visited. I'm sure at this point everything kind of looks familiar to everyone. It was cool. This was the day that we actually were able to see, actually it looks like a bunch of teenagers or kids in their 20s climbing up the stupa, and I think they were getting ready to create those crescent stains on the dome of the stupa. And I thought at first that those stains were made by, you can see the yellow discoloration on the dome there. I thought those were actually, that was yak butter, but I guess it's actually saffron infused water. And I think they might be hauling buckets up right there. Yeah. You can see how large the eyes of Buddha are. They're enormous. Gives you a really good sense of scale. This is a very large stupa. We are now inside one of the buildings on the outside of the the square that surrounds Boudhanath. And there's just all of these murals everywhere. It's really, really cool.
So, quick test, John.
Yeah, it's hard to hear. Those are the guards.
Protector Kings.
Protector King. Yeah.
Our taxi driver, our guide, was trying to explain it to me, and I listened, but I said no, I got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, I was very intrigued by that. They adorn every temple, the entrance to every temple.
You remember what that is, Scott?
I do, the Wheel of Life.
I don't think we actually got any good shots of it while we were in Tibet, but you see those at every temple, and it kind of shows some of the route of reincarnation, and it's really amazing. I suggest people Google the Wheel of Life. It's got some really cool symbolism there. I remember there's one group of the wheel where everyone is surrounded by food and everything, but the people's necks are too narrow to actually swallow any food. Do you remember that, Scott?
The hungry ghosts.
Yeah.
They breathe fire, acid reflux, but they can eat as much as they want. They just can't digest it.
Yeah.
This is what Lub Song was explaining, and it's part of a purgatory level. It's not a very good spot to be. One of the levels on the upper portion of the circle is the human realm, and it's actually the best place to be because you get to live your life and experience pleasure. However, it's full of toil and work, and so if you Google this, you'll see that fruit trees are growing from the earthly realm into the heavenly realm, and all the people are reaching for the fruit, but the gods get it first. So I just always found that interesting. Certainly folks performing a kora, always clockwise. Certainly, it's no different.
There, it's a nice shot. Can't see the third eye, but it's there. And then all the prayer flags, all the different kinds of prayer flags.
And the commerce.
Yep, all the gift shops and restaurants.
Thriving commerce. So notice this building. You can feel the heat coming from these candles from outside the building. There are so many of them. You can just feel the heat on your skin as you walk through that doorway.
And of course, all of the candles are all it's all based on yak butter, so it smells just like everything else did in Tibet. This was great because there's another scale shot there of Scott walking past this prayer wheel. But this was cool because I'd missed all of this in 2003. We didn't see any of this stuff, and next week, the final episode from the 2007 series, we get to see one of the monasteries that is actually right just about maybe 2 or 3 levels of buildings away from Boudhanath. And I had absolutely no idea that it existed back in 2003, so I was really, really amazed to see it in 2007. Really thankful to our taxi driver because it's absolutely beautiful, and we get
an amazing monastery.
Yeah, we get to see monks actually in a prayer session and playing all kinds of instruments and horns, and it's a cacophony of sound. It's just amazing. So really looking forward to closing out the series with that footage. Well, in any case, we are going to try our hardest to record the commentary for the last episode in the coming week. But Scott and I are both extremely busy, and our schedules are complete opposites of each other. So if you don't get an episode again next week, I apologize. It will appear a week or two after that. And then
The grand finale.
Yeah, the grand finale. And then keep in mind that there's still going to be a few more episodes as I can get them out with Brian Ostrike and hopefully Justin Hewitt as they summit Everest in 2007. And then I'll take a break and then come back with Ben Clark. So thanks so much, everyone. Stay subscribed. And thanks as always, Scott.
John, thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys soon. The Rest of Everest is downloaded all over the world every week. If you enjoy watching and would like to show your support, then take a look at my website. Aside from having lots of additional blog entries from the expedition updated every week, there's this little donation button on every page. Now, many of you have pressed that button, and your generous contributions are helping to cover my hosting fees. If you haven't donated but would like to, then just contribute any amount. In return, I'll give you access to the video and audio dispatches I sent out while we were actually at Everest. It's pretty interesting stuff. Contribute $25 or more, and I'll even throw in an iPod-compatible version of the film Everest: The Other Side. That's the project the entire podcast here is based on. As always, our announcer is Marlon May, and our music is provided by Wendy Wu. Check her out at wendywu.com. Thanks so much, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you for watching The Rest of Everest. For more information on the expedition, please visit therestofeverest.com.